Hello everybody, this is just a little tutorial video of how to use VirtualBox by Oracle, because I've had a few people asking me about it, and well, I just got sick and tired of having to show people over and over and over again. So here is a video. Now, the beauty of using programs like VirtualBox means that you can install operating systems on your computer without completely overtaking your main operating system. It's basically like using a computer in a computer. And the best software that I have found to do this is free. It's by Oracle. It's on the website allthews.virtualbox.org. You can download it and you can tool around with operating systems and see what works best for you. Like, for example, people who are not so sure about moving over to Windows 8 yet, they can install Windows 8 on their PC without losing Windows 7 or Vista or XP, whatever you're using. And then have a play and see whether they like it or not. And if they don't like it, all they've got to do is just delete the virtual image. The other useful thing with virtualization is you can use it to test stuff out. Now, I actually quite frequently download stuff on virtual machines just so as I then don't have to worry about it messing up my main PC, because a virus, if there is one in the file, can't spread outside of the virtual machine. It's beautiful. Anyway, so virtualbox.org, you go to downloads. And there's various different downloads that you can choose. The Windows hosts obviously is what I'm using at the moment, but you can also use it on OS X, Linux, and Solaris. There's a couple of other extensions that you can have to add into VirtualBox just to make things a bit easier. Let me just quit out of Steam to stop that from popping up with everything that I'm doing. Right, so let's get started. So, as you can see, I've already set up a Windows XP virtual machine. That's just what I use for testing crap out. I'm going to be demonstrating this using Ubuntu because Ubuntu is free. You can get it from www.ubuntu.com, I think. I'll just Google search it if I'm not right. And basically, it's just a Linux-based operating system. It's quite user-friendly, so if you're thinking of switching over to Linux, this might be the OS for you to check out. But anyway, so I'll just guide you through the basic setup first. So you hit, on the main VirtualBox window here, you hit New. Now it's going to ask you, name your operating system, what type of operating system is it, blah, blah, blah. So let's type in Ubuntu. And it's already this new version of VirtualBox actually pretty much detects what you're typing in. So it's seen me type Ubuntu. It's gone, okay, that's Linux, and the version is Ubuntu. So yeah, press next. Now here you allocate the amount of RAM that you want to allocate to the operating system using this slider. Now the machine I'm on at the moment actually has 12 gig of RAM. I'm not quite sure why it's only showing 8 there. But you can allocate whatever you want. Anything from like 4 meg if you're installing Windows 3.1 for some reason, right the way up to the total amount of available memory on your machine. Now, the more physical memory that you allocate, the better your virtual operating system's going to run, but the worse any programs outside of that operating system are going to run. Now, bear in mind, you may have 16 or 32 or 64 gigabytes of RAM in your computer, but there are certain things that are chewing up that memory even when Windows is just sitting there doing nothing, including but not limited to Windows itself, your antivirus program, and programs that you have running down on the taskbar down here. So like I can click show hidden icons and you can see I've got a fair bit running there. So I've got like Realtek Audio, Nvidia, BBC iPlayer, that's just USB crap, Trillion, Norton twice for some reason, MP3 Skype recorder, blah, blah, all that crap. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to allocate 4 gigabytes of RAM to Ubuntu, 4.096. Or no, there's no point there, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. Next. Now, I always create a virtual hard drive for whatever operating system I'm installing. You can use existing VHDs if you like, if somebody has already sent you one over, but they doesn't always work, particularly if you're installing Windows. Windows is very, very fickle. Somebody might have sent you over a VHD file for Windows 7 with their Windows 7 license key in, and what will then happen is sometimes Windows will go, haha, I'm not being installed on the same computer, so forget you, I'm just going to blue screen every time I start up. Gotta love Windows for that. Now, I never actually tried doing that with Ubuntu, but I'm guessing it's going to be something around the same. Anyway, so I'll just create a new virtual hard drive, so create. You got a couple of options here. I just use VDI just because I'm lazy. Now, the two options here, you've got dynamically allocated and fixed size rather. Dynamically allocated will allow you to set an initial size for a hard drive, say 10 gigabytes, but it will expand that drive as your operating system gets bigger. So if you exceed that 10 gigabytes, not a problem, it'll keep adding. Fixed size is more realistic to having a fixed hard drive, a physical hard drive rather. Your physical hard drive in your machine cannot dynamically expand. It really depends on what you're going to do, whether you want fixed size or dynamically allocated. What I will warn you about with dynamically allocated, and a friend of mine made this mistake, was he had dynamically allocated. Now, he wanted to do a complete zero out of that VHD hard drive, and it was a good job he noticed when he did that, okay, it zeroed out the VHD, but then this virtual hard drive was expanding and expanding and expanding, and it was slowly consuming more and more of his physical drive, and completely zeroing out that drive as well, which was rather funny when he told me about it, but it is a danger of using dynamically allocated drives. Fixed size, that isn't going to happen, but I'm going to choose fixed size for this particular one, just because I don't really need a particularly big drive for what I'm going to show you. So, next again. It then gives you an offer of, what do you want to call this drive, how big do you want it, and where do you want it. Now, I'm going to put it on my secondary hard drive, local disk F, VB VHDs, there's my Windows XP disk, and I'm going to tell it that I want 20 gigabytes because it doesn't have to be particularly big. Right, so create. Now this does take a minute because it's got to basically take that chunk of hard drive and allocate it to Ubuntu, so, or whatever operating system you're installing. Alright, all done. Now you're presented with sort of the main VirtualBox screen crap. Here you can pick up the general sort of settings and fool around with them. Now, for example, the first thing you're going to want to do is look at your storage. Whoops. Come on, there we go. What I tend to do with this is basically you set this, there's your virtual hard drive control, virtual drive controllers. I tend to set at least one of these up as the secondary hard drive, the secondary CD drive rather, in my machine, because although you tend to use disk images for VirtualBox, it can be a pain if you've only got the physical disks, so you just want to throw it in the CD drive and there we go. So you can have it as primary master, primary slave, blah, 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 however you want to set it up. Anyway, use live CD, DVD, and then it will say, okay, do you want to choose a virtual image, host drive D, host drive E, or whatever ISO it appears to have found there. So I use host drive E because that is my secondary drive, and pass-through allows direct read-write access rather than just read. You can also pass through all of your USB stuff. Now, I like to pass through... I don't have the extension pack, fuck it. I'm not going to install that. I like to pass through stuff like my memory stick. So basically you have to pass through anything that says USB storage or Corsair Flash Voyage, because I've got a Corsair Flash Voyager. Well, I can also pass through my printer, the wireless receiver for my Xbox 360 crap, basically even my microphone. I can pass through that as well. Audio, you want to use Windows Direct Sound and ICH AC97. That's my sound card. That should reflect what your soundboard is. If you've got one of these fancy sound cards, it should show up something like that there. If you use null audio driver, you will not have any sound. So network, I'll just leave that alone basically. Serial ports, unless you have any particular use for the serial ports, again you're going to want to leave it alone. Shared folders allows you to share stuff between your virtual operating system and your host operating system. Now, I've never actually got this to work properly. I believe that you have to mess around with network metrics, which is something that I'll get to maybe in another video, but for now, just, again, leave that alone. That's one reason why I like to pass through my USB memory stick, because I can just copy stuff onto my memory stick, shove it in a virtual box, and away we go. But anyway, okay, so the first time that you start this operating system up, it's going to ask you, how do you want to install an actual operating system? Right now, it's just a virtual machine that doesn't actually do anything. Oh, have I set the display rights? Yes, I have. Ish. Close enough. It'll do. It'll do for what I want to do. So, anyway. Hit start. Now, it should prompt me to try and boot off something. Maybe not. Alright, let's try that again. Storage, add another controller. You're about to add a new CD, DVD, called IDE. Choose disk, and I want to run this from an image, just because I have an image file to use to allow it to boot Ubuntu. Which is that one there. Whoops. Let's try that again. Right, so let's make sure I haven't got any disks in these drives. It's going to try and boot off. Yes, I had. Probably didn't help. Alright, start again. Let's really got it right this time. No! Why aren't you working? This is the, oh. Right, I see. So if I hit start and then F12 to select my boot device. Yeah. Ah! Wasn't fast enough. Power off the machine. Right, okay. Detected hard drives. This is probably not going to work. No, fatal. Could not. Visual medium. Oh, I hate you. Can't even remember how you changed the damn boot order. Let's try and. Remove that one, because you can always add and remove storage controllers as and when you need to, which is useful. So I can always add the CD controller in later. Let's try that again. See if it boots up this time. Ah, there we go. Right, so that's loading. That's embarrassing. So now it's going to run through the installer for Ubuntu. And hopefully it'll recognise the VHD. It shouldn't have any problems recognising that. Ubuntu can take a while to load. It's just one of those pain in the arse operating systems, and some of the errors that it gives as it's trying to load up can look a bit horrendous as well. Okay, so it's automatically capturing my mouse. Now, this is one of the things you can set, and it's beautiful, is I'm using my mouse, I'm moving it around outside of Ubuntu. Soon as I go into Ubuntu, the mouse on Ubuntu takes over. Now, Ubuntu as something to try on a virtual OS is probably a bad example, because you can actually boot the CD live and try it that way, but whatever. It's going to work for what I want to do here. So, install Ubuntu. I have at least 4.4 gigabytes of available allocated space. I am connected to the internet. Download updates while installing can be a pain in the arse, so just leave it unticked and you can update later. Ubuntu uses third-party software to display Flash MP. Some of this is closed source. So yeah, install third-party crap because you're probably going to need it. Continue. I should also point out virtual machines can be a little bit slow. It's nothing necessarily to do with your physical machine. I mean, I'm running this on an AMD like 6-core Phenom processor that's overclocked to about 3.5 gigahertz. So as long as you're running it on a halfway decent machine, it shouldn't really cause you any kind of problem. Okay, the computer has detected no current operating systems. I'm just going to unplug my memory stick there because I don't want it to accidentally scrub that. It will... You can use the automated install here that just sort of erases it and installs it on whatever disk it feels like. If you've got USB stuff plugged in, this would now be the point to unplug them. Or you can choose the advanced install. Now I'm going to choose the advanced install option and basically fumble my way through that. So it's detected that I have a FAT32 formatted drive, which, yeah, I think it formats VHD. It's FAT32 by default, and it's 30 gig. So you can... This is kind of like your Windows 7 installation thing where you can check it, where you can tool around with the hard drives. It's basically the same thing. So, yeah, that's the drive I want it to install to, so hit install now. No root file system. Please correct this from the partitioning menu. Oh, for fuck's sake. Can I do a new partition table, maybe? Nope. Back. Fuck it. Use that one. Continue. Select. Yeah, that'll do. Install now. Installing. So while it's doing the installation, it's asking you like, oh, where are you? So I'm not in London, but I'm gonna leave it at London. Asks you about your type of keyboard. Continue. Your name, Alan. Whoops. A-L-A-N. Alan, VirtualBox, that will do. Pick a username, Alan. Log in automatically. I don't need a password for Ubuntu on a virtual machine, really. You're not going to let me go with that one, are you? Okay, well, let's just set you to password. I don't care that it's a weak password. Then it's just going through all the crap that Ubuntu gives you. Basically. Yeah, that's it. Not quite sure how long this takes to install, because it's been a while since I've installed a Linux distro. This is something I should point out. If you have anything installed like Norton, it may pop up and tell you, performance alert, high disk usage by Oracle VirtualBox, and just click close. It's supposed to be high CPU, high memory, high disk usage. That's normal. Alright, so that's all installed. Hit restart now, and I think that should ignore the virtual disk image that I've got mounted. I don't know. Please remove installation and press enter. No, it may not. I might have to go back to VirtualBox and unmount that disk image. I guess I'll find out in a second. No, maybe not. Oh, there we go. Ubuntu is installed on a VirtualBox, virtual machine. So then I can pretty much just, do what I want in Ubuntu, and it won't affect my PC outside, which is just absolutely fantastic. So, I could open up, I don't know, it supplies Firefox as just the standard web browser, but I could open up Firefox and go to, I don't know, type into Google, type properly, give me a virus. Can someone give me a virus? Can you really give me a virus? Blah, 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 blah. And I could install this on this virtual machine and it wouldn't make any difference to the machine outside, which is just absolutely brilliant. I love the fact that you can do that. Anyway, that's about it for installing virtual machines. One thing that you really need to know... Oh, bugger off, new drivers available, I don't care. The one thing that you need to know about shutting down virtual machines is you can't just click the close button up here. What that will do is that'll give you an option of, do you want to just switch the machine off? Do you want to save its state, which is basically sort of like putting it into sleep mode, or send the shutdown signal? Don't just click the close button. Shut the machine down properly. So if you're running Hackintosh on VirtualBox, you want to click on the Apple logo, click turn off. If you're running Windows, you want to click start, turn off, and if you're running Ubuntu, you want to click on the little gear here and click on shutdown. Press shutdown, okay. And that's it then. VirtualBox then hands back control of everything that it's taken control of to your physical machine, and job done. Now, one thing that I do find particularly useful with virtual machines, other than worrying about getting viruses and that kind of stuff, is if you have older software that will only work on older operating systems like Windows 95 and that kind of stuff, you can install them and run them. Like, I can play all my old Windows 95 games through this. I can play all my old Windows 2 games through VirtualBox if I wanted to. The thing is with hardware, if you want to pass any hardware through to the operating system, the host machine, the physical computer in front of you, has to understand the hardware. It has to know what the hardware is. You have to have the drivers installed. If it doesn't understand it, it cannot pass it through, or it at least can't do it reliably. If you're using Windows 7, Windows 8, you plug a USB piece of hardware in, 99 times out of 100 it's going to work. If you're doing that with, say, one of these USB to RS-232 converter adapter doodads, all you need to do is pass through the adapter, not the piece of hardware that's connected to it. But it's all customizable, and when you start getting to that kind of thing, it's really, really complicated, and I'm not going to go into doing that on this video, because this video is not for that. This video is just basically to show you how to use VirtualBox. The installation, the setup, that kind of stuff is basically the same. It doesn't matter what operating system you're using there. You can be running Windows XP. All you have to do is tell it that it's a Windows XP setup. You can be running Ubuntu. Tell it that it's an Ubuntu setup, like you saw me do earlier. It really doesn't matter what you do. And the beauty, again, with virtual machines is if you make a total dog's dinner of it, you just delete the disk image and start again, or you can refer back to a previous snapshot of the machine, whatever you want to do. Anyway, that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Goodbye.